friends, my name is Jake. Welcome to Canadian Cutting. My hair. Maybe I should have put some product in it this morning. I don't like putting product in my hair. And I used to have my hair just a 1/4 inch long, but I decided I'm going to start growing it. Does it look okay from this side? I don't know. Maybe I'm going to just slick it back and have it slicked back. I don't know. We'll find out. I'm just trying something new. That's besides the point. What are we talking about today? Well, you saw it in the thumbnail. We got this neck knife from Civivi Knives, the VAQUITA 2. Where'd the 2 come from? Nathan Matlock is the designer of this. He designed, basically the VAQUITA 6 years ago or so when he was like 22 years old. Just a kid. I think he was going to art school, actually, some kind of art, whatever. He had designed a version of this as a pocket knife with a custom knife maker and stuff. But this knife, essentially, in the same way that it is now, except for a higher end version of this knife, was first made by WE Knives almost 6 years ago. And, last year, 2023, this guy came out from Civivi Knives, the younger brother of WE Knives. And if those of you aren't familiar, the younger brother of Civivi is Sencut, so WE, Civivi, Sencut. And I doubt they're going to make a lower budget version than this. This is not an expensive knife. It's not a super cheap knife. What is it, $57 US, something like that? You can save 10% at White Mountain Knives with the coupon code CCE. That makes it like $51.25 American. There's 4 versions of this knife, different handle materials, and Nitro V or a Damascus. And each of those 4 has a different price point at White Mountain Knives, all the way up to, what is it, $73.95, which is, after the 10% discount, $66.55. If you want to buy this in Canada, you can. Blades Canada has them. It's more money. It's like $83 for this one and $105.99 for the other one. You're paying about $15 more Canadian to buy it in Canada. But a knife like this, I bought mine from White Mountain Knives, had it shipped straight to me here in Alberta, because it's a little fixed blade. It's not going to get stopped at the border. I can't say that it's not going to. There's no reason for them to stop it at the border. They've got no reason either in CBSA policies, and certainly not within Canadian law, to stop this knife from crossing the border. So that's how I bought it. So I've given you the price and stuff. I've given you a tiny bit of the background of it. Come on to the tabletop with me and we'll take a good close look at it. So yeah, basically what we've got is a miniature kukri. Not a small kukri, a miniature kukri. And I didn't double check the size of the WE version, but I think it's pretty much the same. Back in 2018, I wasn't reviewing price knives that are in the price range of WE Knives. It's very rare for me to review a WE knife. The price range is just a little bit higher than what I generally go for on this channel. And back in 2018, I was doing even much lower price knives for the most part than I even do now. But like I said, this thing's in the mid-50s US price. And, the furnace went on. It's just too cold. We still have it really cold out here, at least right now. Not super cold, but, it's cold. Bless you, Bandit. You doing okay, buddy? What you sneezing about? What you sneezing about? Good boy. Go lie down. But this is what we got here today. So I've not seen any reviews of the WE version of this knife, and I haven't, like I never do. I don't watch reviews of knives that I'm going to review, so I don't know what other people have to say about this knife. So I'll tell you what I think. But before I tell you what I think, let's just go over it and stuff. Like I said, it's a miniature kukri. We got Nitro V steel, as I said in the intro. And it says Nitro V right there in nice small letters. I really like how small Civivi does the badging. It's on the flat here for the word Civivi. I like that. And Bandit wants to go investigate something else. I'll be right back. For those of you who aren't familiar, Bandit is my dog. He's a, well, they call them Poshies. He's a Pomeranian Shetland Sheepdog or Sheltie cross. little, 16-pound dog, something like that. Cute little guy. He's getting old. Anyhow, the knife, like I said, it's a kukri, badging small. We've got a big swedge across the top here, so it's not exactly like a kukri. Kukris tend to have some decoration along there or a fuller up there. But the basic shape of it, with the big belly here and then the recurve and then the handle, and it's offset. The handle and the blade, they tend to be offset, maybe not this dramatically, but they tend to be offset, like the line of the handle and the line of the blade tend to be offset quite a bit. This is not quite that much. It's a fairly decent line, but this is just a light little thing. We've got G10 on here. The pricier versions have micarta, either a black micarta with black stonewash, a black wash blade. You can get black G10 with the black wash blade. That's the one just above this. And the pricier one is a green micarta with a pattern welded Damascus blade. That's pretty much what you get. This thing's got a little bit of extra design up here other than, the fuller and stuff. It's got a little bit of a section milled out right there where my thumb is going on both sides. Leaves it a bit thin here. Well, I'll talk about that more in just a minute. The edge here, nice and thin, gets a little thicker back here because if you look at the grind, let's move that out of the way here. See, here's the, let's get a clean pen. Here's where it's the full thickness, and it sort of would go across like that. And so from the full thickness to the edge, that distance, it slowly keeps getting thinner. Since we got just a little distance here, it's a little thicker here than I like. It's around 20 thou here, but it's like 15 thousandths of an inch thick here, just behind that sharpened apex. This slices really well. It's not really a stabbing kind of knife because there's nothing to protect your finger, your hand from getting up over this edge and starting to get cut right there. But slicing and cutting, the edge does well. Like the performance of this edge is pretty good. It's the handle. The handle's so thin. It's a thin handle, and the G10 is inset from the tang of the blade to start with. It's a very small handle. Is it comfortable? Well, if you're just holding it and, like that, it's okay. But I'm not too fond of it. So now we're starting to talk about the review. I'll wait for just a second. A little more description. We've got a big hole back here. So, big for the size of the knife. 550 paracord easily fits through there, so you can tie off. Oh, the other badging, I forgot to say that. Nathan Matlock, that's his little logo right there. And it's just a small handle. It's a little too small. And so that's the overview of the shape. My review of it, it's small, like I was already saying beforehand. I jump around a little bit. Sorry about that. This section here that's thin, I don't like it. I just don't like it. I'd rather have it stay the full thickness because this steel is not very thick to start with. I'd like that whole section there to have the full thickness and maybe even having a little bit of jimping on it. Does this offer grip? Yeah, it's got a fairly crisp edge there, and so the skin catches on it. It's almost feels like there's a little bit of a burr on it. Not quite, but almost. So you do get some texture and some grippiness with that, but I'm not fond of that. As a design feature from the looks, it looks good. I like that. But from functional standpoint, if you're actually going to try to use this knife, not so good. Other than that, it's just, the fact that it's thin and small, that it's not really a user kind of knife, is it? I tend to stay away from what I call fantasy knives. This knife is right on that borderline between a user knife and a fantasy knife. It's trying to, it seems to me that it's trying to balance both of those things at the same time. And I'm just not sure how well it's doing it. If this was going to be a user knife, I would much rather that this here was not sharpened, sort of like a forward choil on a folding knife, so that you could grip it like this. And if you could grip it like this part of the blade it'd be extra useful. It'd be much more usable, user-friendly, but I don't want to cut my fingers, so I'm not squeezing on there, and I'm not sliding my finger back and forth either. So to keep your fingers back here, it's a 2.5, not even a 3-finger grip for my fingers, because this finger comes right at that spot because it's so small there. Yeah, I think I've belabored the point enough. It's not a knife that I feel that is secure in my hand. Let's talk about the sheath for a minute. We've got a pancake Kydex sheath. That is 2 slabs of Kydex riveted together. You've got this ball chain to use it as a neck knife. Yeah, nothing special with this ball chain at all. And the retention is pretty good. It holds on there nice and tightly. Let me grab this ball chain, put it in my hand here. There we go. Nothing loose. There's no movement. There's no wiggle. It's snug in there like it should be. And it's easy to grab here because this is expanding here. So it's easy to grab there and push it off to get it out. So they did nothing wrong with this sheath. So I like that. And the retention, everything's good. So I can put that back to the side again and just finish talking about this knife. Before I talk about some more, let's go over all the measurements. Oh, that means I got to bring this back. The weights. The weight of this knife is 39 grams. That's 1.38 ounces. Yeah, not even 1.5 ounces. This is 31 grams. That's just a bit over an ounce, 1.09 ounces. Together, the whole thing, 70 grams, not even 2.5 ounces. Not even 2.5. So that's a nice light knife. So if you want something really light, well, it's got that going for it. Sharpness, well, I'm going to give you 2 sharpness numbers because that's what I experienced. The belly here, remember I said it was thinner here. This belly here, it got a score of about 155 best on my tester, the way I use my tester. And that's pretty close to average. It's slightly less good than average, but it's just right at the average point. This area here, the recurve, 225 bests. It's just not sharpened as well here, and I'll tell you that when we get to the grind angles. The cutting edge length, so from the tip of the blade, my thumbnail to my thumbnail, those 2 thumbnails, a straight line between those points is 85.7 millimeters, 3.37 inches. From the tip of the blade to the closest spot on the G10 by my index finger, 82.0 millimeters, that's 3.23, so almost 3.25 inches in blade length. The thickness of the blade along this flat section here where it's thickest, 2.23 millimeters, 88,000ths of an inch, so less than 1/10 of an inch thick. The blade depth, the widest point is right there, 24.2 millimeters, 0.953 of an inch. How thick is it behind the grind? Well, the belly area, so the tip and most of the belly, that is 0.38 millimeters, 15,000ths. And this section is 0.51 millimeters or 20,000ths of an inch thick. The grind angles, I usually give you an average grind angle, but it's a little bit wonky. This one, so let's go between these 2 fingers. Between these 2 fingers, that's about 22.2 degrees. But very quickly by here, so between this, between those 2 nails, it goes all the way down to 17.8 degrees. And then very quickly, this last section here, almost all of it is about 16.3 degrees. A little bit less, for the last little bit at the tip. So it's a fair bit of variability, 5.9 degrees of variability on this side, which is, it's going to be fun when I go to sharpen it for the first time, if I don't sell it first. But if I go to sharpen it, it's going to have to waste some steel to get the same angle all the way across. This side, on the other hand, 20.1 degrees from the tip all the way to the middle of the recurve. 20.1 degrees all the way along there. And then 22.1 in this last section, just changes quickly. Let's go the rest of the measurements here. What else do I have? Handle length. So tip, or this end of the G10 all the way to the end of the steel. That is 76.8 millimeters, 3.02 inches. The thickness of the handle scales on the G10, so at the screws it might be a little different. On 1 or 2 of them it sticks out a tiny bit. 7.37 millimeters, 0.29 of an inch. So very thin. And the handle depth, the widest point is right there. 18.7 millimeters, 0.7367 inch. So thin and narrow, just keep it very small. And the total length of this thing from tip to the end, total length is 158 millimeters. Whatever that is on inches is on the screen. Sorry about that. The grip area, and I didn't tell you that before, skipping around, between my thumbnails there, because this part doesn't really help with the grip, that is about 57 millimeters, about 2¼ inches. So there you go. The sheath, how long is that thing? That's about 110 millimeters, 4.33 inches. So it's small, it's little. What do I think of this knife? I have often had a full kukri in my box, in my wish list, sometimes in a shopping cart. I've wanted to buy, a genuine one from, what's Bandit doing? Like a Gurkha kukri. I've just never have bought one. So this is the only kukri I've ever had. So I'm not really comparing it to an actual proper kukri. As a knife on its own, it just doesn't do it for me. I don't know. I just don't know what I think of it. Mostly because I don't feel like I have a secure grip when I want to do anything but the lightest of cutting. That's my main summary. So I'm going to I'm just going to end it right there. That's it. I'll let Bandit keep barking in the background and end this video. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to my supporters. I've got another new supporter on Patreon this week. I appreciate you guys an awful lot. Thank you to all of those who leave a comment. Any comment at all really does help, and helps a lot because it tells the algorithm when people engage with the video, that is leaving a comment, even liking the video, but mostly if you leave a comment or share the video, then Google says this video, Google owns YouTube, YouTube says this video is getting some engagement. We better promote it some more. The thing is, YouTube doesn't promote my videos very much because I only allow them to interrupt my video once per video with advertising. I know some guys let their video, Google in a 20-minute video wants to interrupt 5-6 times with advertisements. And if you let them do that, they're going to promote your video more because what you're doing is promoting their advertising more as well. And they want their advertising because that's how they get paid. So because I limit it to one interruption, I allow advertising before my video, I allow advertising after my video, but I only allow that one interruption. And because of that, I need your help in promoting my videos. And so I appreciate those of you guys and gals who do that. Thank you very, very much. And remember, friends, always cut towards your chum, not your thumb.